You can't be too long either, otherwise it drops.
I got this thing down already. He's running in.
Stare your wrist.
Just
Give
No.
Yeah, put it up and speak.
I would get these hormones on.
Yeah. You're right, Senator.
Somebody.
7 o'clock, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone has the same agenda, looks like this. The red's on there. Roll call, all counselors present. Additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mayor and council members, there's no additions to the agenda?
You want me to add letter A, the Knights of Columbus request?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to add letter A, Knights of Columbus request to use of the city generator for August 17th under letter 8, which is on the agenda that I have that I showed everyone. Any other changes?
There's more than one, another red one on here already.
Yeah, but that one was on there before.
Okay.
Sean?
Adam Cook was added to.
Okay. Counselor Edmonds is going to add number 3, Public Works, Adam Cook, step increase effective 7/9/19.
Oh, that's not on
It was already there, but, you know.
Yep, just
Oh,
a-
It brought it to attention.
Any other changes or corrections? Seeing none, need a motion to approve the amended agenda. Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, number 3, consideration of the city council meeting minutes of number A, regular meeting minutes of July 25th, tab A, letter B, study session meeting minutes of August 1st, 2019, which is the council. Mr. Zimmer, were you here?
According to the minutes, I was here.
Okay, then we're good. Start off with that.
And the corrections that we addressed at the last meeting were put in, so
Correct.
I guess I'll move approval of the minutes.
Aye.
A and B.
Amy.
Yep, I'm going to second
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say by saying aye.
that.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, number 4, consent agenda, permits and licenses, none. Number B, personnel. Number 1, accept the resignation of Taylor Baluka, effective 7/23/2019, and Paul Sauter, effective 7/27/2019, from the liquor store, neither in good standing due to not meeting 14-day notice requirements. Elaborate, we're good.
Well, it's a consent agenda.
One
Taking-
gave me a notice on Tuesday, he was done Tuesday, and the other one gave me a notice on Tuesday that he was gonna finish out his schedule and never showed up again.
I get it's under consent agenda. It was like, we had a lot of these resignations, so I kind of had a couple questions about it just in the process.
Yep.
And the thing, I get the whole consent agenda part, I just wanted explanation there. Okay, and then the step increase and then the other increase. Anybody have questions on the consent agenda, or we approve it as all 3 items?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 5, open forum. Open forum is a time for you to come forward to speak to the city council if you're not on the agenda. If you're on the agenda, we'll get to you and we'll call you. If you're not on the agenda, please come forward now and state your name for the record. Let it be known, no one came forward or stood up. Number 6, public hearings, none. Number 7, reports, announcements, correspondence, boards, and committee minutes. Letter A, Coors Light event at the liquor store, August 24th, 1 to 4 p.m. This was the one that was for the fire.
Coors is sponsoring for the month of August to sponsor your local fire department. We are selling little name tags throughout the month for $1, and we'll hang your thing up on the wall. And then we're gonna have an event on the 24th, and Dahlheimer, who is my Coors Light distributor, is going to donate a 1919 root beer cake, and we're gonna see if we can get hot dogs and some buns donated, and just have a fun event, and hopefully the fire department will show up and bring a couple trucks for the kids to look at.
Perfect. Okay, good. And then, any questions? Planning Commission meeting minutes, July 15th, 2019, tab C. No comments. Number 8, petitions, requests, communications. Letter A, Knights of Columbus request to use the city generator for August 17th. Staff.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Frank actually stopped in this afternoon. Apparently he talked to Bob, and Bob asked that he fill this form out, so we put it on the council for approval tonight because the event is before our next council meeting. And I believe someone is here to talk about that if you have questions.
Go ahead, Ron.
We're gonna power up some party, right?
What?
You're gonna be powering up a party.
I hope so.
Good. We wanna hear about it.
Good evening, my name's Ron Matheson. I live in Zimmerman, 13818 2nd Avenue North. I'm here on behalf of the Knights of Columbus. The event is a car show and a rib cook-off and some kind of a, I don't know, parts thing or no, or on August 17th over at the old, what's it called again?
Wade Pikes.
Wade Pike's old auction barn. Is there any questions, or do you want me to keep talking?
Is the admission free? Is it, do you have to sign up?
It's free to all spectators, yes, it is.
Free to all
Yeah, and we got food, family area for family and, kids and stuff like that. And we hope we get a lot of cars out there. It's for a car show, and the Rib Fest, they're gonna be a competition cook-off for that, and then a swap meet.
And maybe, you said this, but what time does it start and begin?
It actually starts, well, people can start coming in, the cars and the ribbers and stuff at 6, but the event starts at, we're gonna have an opening ceremony at 9:45,
Yep.
and it'll last from 10 to 6.
Great.
You need a generator for what, the power your grill or something?
The beer wagon.
The beer wagon
Yeah.
more than anything.
I thought that, but I didn't really read it.
And it's coming from Dahlheimer Distribution too, by the way.
They're good company.
Yeah.
And they need that size of a generator to operate it.
Perfect.
And the reason I don't know that much is because I'm not actually a member of the Knights, but I am an active church member.
Got it. Nope, totally good. I just wanted to help promote the
Oh.
process and go through it, answer the questions, and so that way if there's people watching the video, they'll be able to view this process too. That's what I wanted to go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it the first time they've requested use of it?
Mr. Mayor, Council, this is, I believe, the first time the Knights have requested use of the generator. We have offered it up to other 501(c)(3)s, just so you're aware that the church is in city limits, but the event is outside of city limits, not neither here nor there, but just so the council is aware that it will be leaving city limits for this event.
Do you or do you give a class on it, so they know what to run?
Yes.
You don't have a personnel staff in it or whatever?
No, sir, we will, we set it up, we set up the grounding plates, we set up the junction box, give them a tutorial on how to start it up, how to shut it down, so that there's no additional staff time once it's set up.
And I suppose if whoever's on call for the weekend, if they had a problem, they could correct my contact number or something.
Yes, sir.
Our insurance agent was just here. We got good insurance, so in case it doesn't come back.
So do we.
Wishes of the council.
I would move approval of the Knights of Columbus request for the use of the city generator for August 17th, whatever the event is called.
Motion, second then.
Second.
Motion and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, guys, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Yep. Number 9, ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 1932, calling for a public hearing on TIF 8-4, tab D. Mr. Barbian.
Mayors and council members, this is related to the potential lot sale on the corner of 21st and 1st, Dan Taviki. And with that, the city is looking at, with that land purchase and development, the city would be looking or considering an establishment of a TIF district. This would call for the public hearing, in which case, at which hearing the details of that would come forward, and a few of the questions or so could be covered by the consultant who's coming in and preparing that. In addition to that, the study session is coming up just prior to the 12th, which is when the public hearing is. The study session will cover the details of the transaction for the council, and they'll be able to consider it further at that time as well. I think that's the specifics there, and this is merely to put the ad in the newspaper and cover it.
So we're setting that for September 12th. For the public
Let
hearing.
me just see now. Is that correct? I believe it is.
The public hearing and adoption of resolution.
So we need a motion to have a public hearing,
Motion to advertise.
or advertise for a public hearing on September 12th. Mr. Barbian?
Yes, that's correct. So,
Okay. I make the motion then to advertise a public hearing regarding the TIP at First Street and 21st Avenue on September 12th.
I have a motion, to a second?
Second, resolution 1932.
Is that it?
Agenda item.
and
That's
that
it.
public hearing will be held here.
And a public hearing at City Hall.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion, I have a second from somebody, right?
I second it.
Okay, a motion and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, number 10, unfinished business. Administrator review, determine the date and review verbal. Oh, this is Nurse Sparky. Okay,
It is. So in a separate email, the 5 different review forms were sent out. And what I would propose happen is that the council members agree on one form so that you're all using the same form. And that way you can provide comments on there. And either you can provide those comments to Brad or the mayor, and has been done in the past, or we could have a joint review and whereby all the council members would provide comment to me at a meeting.
I think the council pretty unanimously decided we were gonna go with the latter part of that project, which is, having a review with you where we're all together. You know what I mean? And then where you decide if it's open session or closed session. I think we had.
It's perfectly fine
Yeah.
if that's the wishes of the council. I think that with the various, I think there's 5 different forms, it'd probably be good if everybody would choose one or one.
And I think, remember we talked about this, was it gonna be in October?
It was closer to Mr. Barbian's start date,
Yeah, which was October.
anniversary date.
Yeah, so basically in August here, we're just trying to put this on there to pick our form, to get it set, so we're all prepared in November.
Yes, or we could do it in I would like to say done in October, so it's ready by November.
October, okay, yeah. there you go.
Or maybe the first, maybe even the works, before the first work session in November.
So you're saying that we would do the review at the study session or?
No, we do it in October.
In October, last meeting in October?
Yeah, that'd
Seem
be fine.
reasonable?
Yeah. So it's,
And that is that's a closed, that portion is a closed meeting with the council and the city administrator?
up to the city administrator, up to the employee, or to have that, he gets to decide if it's open or closed.
Oh, okay, all right.
And normally,
Normally,
Close.
normally the person who's being reviewed chooses close, but they don't have to, so I don't know.
Okay.
but that's the,
I have nothing to hide.
but
I've
that's
learned in the past you can't really hide anything.
the latter way of doing it, and the way that we had done it in the past.
And we don't have to make that decision whether open or closed right now. anyway.
We don't get to make the decision at
Well,
all.
or he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't have to make, yep,
So that can be,
Right.
up to him. So I think here is for us to have these 5 different options, and in the 5 different options, we need to select one down, so I don't think we have to select it down now, but I think that by the next meeting, we have to have the one that we choose, that we like the best of the 5 options is what we're trying to get at. Does that make sense? And then bring your suggestions so we can approve that. Review.
yeah, I kind of looked at him, I kind of like the first one, but if we're not ready to make it.
Oh, no, you wanna do it now? Let's do it
Well, it's
now.
up to you.
I agree with Councilor Edmonds. I looked at them and I like that the one they have been using.
I didn't thoroughly read them end to end, but I think the first one is, we don't have to make this rocket science, it doesn't have to be no 5-page thing. My opinion, I thought the first one adequate, covers everything we need covered.
And I agree with that. I like that first one.
Things-
I'm also familiar with it. We've been using it, so
I like the first one too, but I think the second one also adds a lot of different leadership in the community, leadership of employees. It's got a lot of different, it kind of breaks it down into the different categories.
But you know, a lot of that kind of comes out when you're doing a review anyway.
Yeah, the second one is a bit more comprehensive.
Mhm, I think so too.
So then I'll go with the majority of it.
You think, well, we're gonna do it different than what we had done it in the past. So I mean, I would say the second one. You know what I mean? We're gonna do the review process different than we had in the past. And so using the second form, I would agree with you guys that, we're trying something different here to see different results maybe. That's all.
I'm okay with that too.
Okay.
They're all pretty much the same, but yeah, the second one has a few,
If
quite a few more
the
questions.
majority of you like the second one, I'll go with that. I'm okay with it.
And we can get, when we're ready to go here, we'll get hard copies, so each of us has a hard copy, and then we can just each have our review
Yep.
at the,
I think what we would do, since you're selecting a form here and you're selecting the time frame, we would make sure that the review form would be out to everybody at least a week or 2 ahead of time, so you have plenty of time to give it some thought, or just pull it out when you, at your pleasure.
yeah.
At your leisure.
And if we have a actually hard copy sitting on our desk or whatever, I'm an old fashioned guy, I like to
Fill it all. Yeah,
have
no.
it sitting in front of me.
Okay. Okay, so the consensus of the council is we're gonna use form number 2. We're going to have the review at the October, I don't have the calendar, clerk, the October 26th,
Sixth, I think.
October 26th date. Correct?
Coming up, one moment, sir.
Whatever, 24th.
October, yeah, so October 24th. I mean, October 24th. Keep it as a consensus, or you want a motion on both of them? Oops. Mr.
Council's
Garvey?
pleasure. I don't think anybody here is gonna buck it.
No. Okay, so we're good on this. 24th, okay. Moving on, number B, fire truck fund establishment tab E. Mr. Jackson? Nope.
Mayor and council members, I'll just speak on this. Ron wasn't able to make the meeting tonight due to his other obligations. Basically, from the township, there's been a number of questions, and this was meant to address, this was put together to address those questions. I think it covers about 8 different points. There was a variety of questions. Some of the townships are ready to advance funding, but as questions come up such as, well, how do we know the funds aren't going to be used for other purposes? So they wanted some things written down, and this establishes, terms, rough terms. I don't know that it's an agreement or anything, but it does establish terms in which the city would handle these funds once they receive them. I'd be happy to go through this individually if the council wishes, or answer questions, whichever is your preference.
I'd like to see the chief do it. No, I'm fine, you do it. I'm trying to find the sheet here.
Me too.
We can look, yeah.
39.
39, yep, I'm almost
Where are my
at page
pages?
39.
Oh, thank you.
1 second, I'll be there.
Oh, yeah, if you have a little bit, it's just.
I don't see that. I was telling you.
I
Well,
should,
I mean, Counselor Darrell, the chair of that committee, she obviously has her.
Yep, we looked at it and we did run it past the city attorney. Got some input from.
Paul, yep. I should mention that towns are looking for some of the detail and kind of held off on this. I don't know for necessarily what reason, but it seems that more questions kept coming for a while.
Well, so we could motion to approve this because this is when you know the establishment of a fund that.
One of the questions that did come up even afterwards was as to whether we would actually establish a separate fund or we would put this in a separate line item in the budget.
Oh, we can put a separate fund, I guess.
Okay.
We got 100 of them already.
Which one more?
Yeah. No, it should be, it's gotta be documented separate, one somehow, whether it be just a line item or an actual fund.
And maybe that's something that we could just go over with our auditor and see what's possible.
It's probably fair to do it. This is a separate fund.
Wishes of the council
So we're
approving this.
approving that these questions be answered.
They are the answers to the questions that some of the townships had regarding the funds
So we're approving this.
to go to the township. Yeah.
Well, okay, so we need a motion to.
Yeah, we need a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve, I suppose you'd call it the fire truck, or establish a fire truck fund summary. What do you call it?
Yep,
That-
summary, yeah.
That will go to the, all of the parties involved.
I have a motion, a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay. Moving on to letter C, Great Northern Trail Engineers Report, bids and project updates, tab F. Spending money.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bids we did have a bid opening for the Great Northern Regional Trail project this last Tuesday. We had 4 bids come in, and they're just the numbers in your table were the bids are still being verified, so there is a correction to one of the bids. We did get through the numbers, and Meyer, I do want to note that Meyer Contracting was not the low bid. They were actually the high bid at $965,000. And I just wanted to point that out. So as you can see, the bids came in high, approximately $134,000 over our engineer's estimate. We have reached out to MnDOT to see if there is more funding available. And in the meantime, we've started the DCP process, which is the delegated contract process it's all the required paperwork for the federal funding, which is required to be started within 5 days of bidding. So whether the council decides to award or not, we still have to follow that process. And if they decide to delay the bids or not award, then we just go through the process. So we have filed all the paperwork to keep the project moving forward, should we decide to. Otherwise, we have looked closely at the bids, and at the next meeting in August, we'll go through all of the findings and determine whether we want to rebid the project, and we'll know more whether there is more funding available from MnDOT to help out with the bids. So, and I do want to point out too that looking through the bids, we have a staff member at WSB who used to be an estimator for a contract. And so I sent him all of the bid results, and he looked through and thought the concrete seemed pretty high. Concrete contractors are pretty full at this time of year, so being that there were 4 bidders on it, which was more than I expected, so that was good. I was pretty excited to see 4 of them in here, but he did think that we would see more competition if we did rebid it for construction in 2020 on the concrete level. However, you do risk higher bituminous prices. So it's just some pros and cons that we need to talk about at the next meeting.
Is there a drop dead date that we have to either get off the pot or whatever?
I'd have to see what the spec said. I believe usually we hold bids for 30 days before, sometimes it can vary. You can put in the spec how many days you'd like to hold it before you need to award the project. But I believe this one said 30 days, but I have to verify.
But at some point, the federal funding will be jeopardized through one.
Yes, so if we did choose to, as part of the federal funding, I believe we have to cut a check for some materials before next spring. So if we did decide to rebid the project, then we could just pay for some material on hand. And then the project was awarded, we could pay for some material on hand, just to meet the federal funding requirements of showing that we are spending money, we are intending on moving this project forward.
So tentatively, it could be moved to 2021, then, right? I mean, without losing, I mean, is that a reach or
Yeah, I don't think that we can move it to 2021, but it can
still
move to
have to be done
2021.
next year?
Yeah.
A portion of the Great Northern Trail was included in the roundabout. Is that still gonna be completed?
Yes, there's a portion of the trail that's being constructed with the roundabout,
Right.
up to the bridge, I believe it was.
Up to the bridge?
Yeah.
And is that reflected into this?
No, those are not reflected in
So
the.
that money will come off of there?
That
out of the
money was
project?
paid for with the Great Northern Trail. I think that was part of a negotiation with Sherburne County, I believe. Was it that part of the contribution from the city was to go towards the trail on the roundabout project? That was?
That's how I remember it also. I think that was 30,000, something like that.
Yeah, 30,000.
Or 30 or 60 or 90, 100. No, I think it was 30, it seems to be the figure,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's a good thing then, that at least that part of
That
it
portion is
that
on.
is done, that's going to be done and included in the roundabout.
Right.
Jen, you had, Ms. Edison, you had mentioned that the concrete might be a little bit high. Do you know roughly what percentage of the contract that was? Is that 2% of the contract or 20%?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I can look while the meeting continues and.
No, just a detail. We'll probably get that information at the next meeting.
Yep.
But I'm
Oh, yeah.
just wondering how much of it is and what the influence is. And then also how much the percentage of bituminous and where that price is in
Sure,
relation to.
the risk for each of the,
Yeah.
yeah.
But otherwise, I think the engineer did a good job of reviewing the information, getting it to the council in a short time, because we just got the bids open Tuesday, I think it was.
And to elaborate on Councilor Edmonds' question, approving this bid at the next meeting, we would still be starting the project this fall then?
If we awarded the project at the next meeting, that would be, yes, we would be starting construction phase.
No, not this time. I thought we were waiting till next spring anyway.
If we decided to rebid the project, it would be for next spring. We would rebid it in
I
the
guess I don't
fall.
think we were doing that anyway. Maybe
So-
I just understood
So
something.
Ms. Edison, I think I might have misunderstood as well. I thought that the contractor had the option of starting in fall or spring.
They have the option of, they have a substantial completion date, so they would be required to start and then leave it at a point where they would have the option to finish it next fall, but they couldn't do all the construction next year.
Okay. So they'd have to start,
Some portion
This
or
fall.
some.
Yes,
Well, they've done some clearing already, haven't they, like by the bus garage and stuff?
yeah.
Was that part of that
Yeah.
project? or-
Public Works did some clearing, and that was part of the requirements of the environmental document
Well,
that.
Bob turned a bill, but we take that off the bid.
Right?
Yeah, you were.
So it's okay, we'll come back to the concrete part then, if that question of the process helps us now to, I think, know that, and then we'll be able to make a better decision in, a couple weeks. Okay, so moving on to new business, number 11.
Mr. Mayor, can I
Yep.
go back just 1 second here? I've got a question that it's kind of connected here, but maybe it's not a good time. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but do we have an idea how that franchise fee is coming in? Does it look like it's going to be better or worse? Or are we far enough into it to even answer that question? It's more of a curious question.
Well, I guess at this point, we don't have a, good answer to that, but we'll try and get something together along with.
If you could only start into the budget, that'd be kind of nice.
Oh, yeah.
Because
for
I would
sure.
like to see where the numbers are.
Yeah.
I think might be some possible budget discussion,
Right.
possibly.
Possibly, yep. Well, that's a great question. Number 11, letter A, approved bid to paint Civic Center. Letter G, there's 2 bids in here, I think.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, there are 2 bids before you. One is from Steinbrecher Painting, one is from A-Top Notch Painting. Before you is the decision to make, Steinbrecher did make a substantial donation for the refurbishing of the Civic Center. And so the council needs to decide if they want to go with low bid or to go with a little bit more. I believe it's just around $200, but still a council call.
Steinbrecher Painting has annually donated paint, a lot of paint, to Solheim Veterans Field also, year after year after year. So I would not hesitate at all.
$130 according to the annual number.
I would make a motion to approve, to award the bid to Steinbrecher Painting.
I'll second that.
I got a motion, I got a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay, perfect. Okay, moving on to letter B. Approved bid for outfield fence replacement in Field 1, Tab H.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, the outfield of Field 1, the outfield fence historically has been an advertising fence, so reconstruction with some chain link. There was a lot of plywood on it, and advertising was sold on that. Since there's been no softball going on that needed to advertise for bringing down their costs, that fence has not been utilized and is now in disrepair and needs replacement. Just looking for council approval to go with the low bid for replacing just the outfield portion of Field 1.
A lot of park money getting spent tonight.
And that was a CIP. That was in the CIP.
Yes, sir.
To use those funds.
And if I could add, the school district has indicated that they will be helping out financially as well on this, so this number that you're looking at will not be the total number. School district will be adding funds. That hasn't been determined yet, but it's been a minimum of $2,000 and possibly up to $5,000 in reduction to the number you see here.
So which Field 1 is the one closest to this?
That would be the one if you drove up to the building, the concession stand, it's the middle one. Has the Ed Kingsley Memorial plaque on it.
Could it be possible to do this out of the franchise fee?
Well,
Would that be?
I think you can, but I think the, all of it can change at any time, but the projects that we're gonna go towards the franchise fee have already been designated.
Well, that's
I
why
mean, it can
I'm
be
curious to see
changed.
where we're at, because
Yeah,
if we have an established annual payment to the grant, and that's 9 years or whatever it is, and there's extra money there of that payment obligation. This is where I'm looking at, for the budget, maybe there's the money there.
something you can look at, but
But I
if you
believe,
take away from, if you
And we
pay
have
for
to.
that with this, pay franchise fee for this, then something else isn't going to get done that has been designated, that the park board has been involved in asking the money to be used for certain
I
parts.
did get a larger grant than we expected for the Riverside Park.
Yeah.
but I defer to Mr. Jackson to help me remember, but I believe this portion we were able to take out of park dedication because it's in so it's not out of
So the money-
CIP. It was on the CIP, but it's funded out of park dedication.
Okay, that comes out of like a builder bill,
Correct.
pay into the fund.
So we budgeted in the CIP for this, or for the amount of money, and it could be less, this school district.
Yes.
We'll be making a motion to approve
I'll
that
make,
amount.
I'll make a motion to approve up to $12,890 to Bamboo's Fence to repair the softball outfield fence in field number 1 at Mark Park.
Less any contributions to the school district.
Yes, if you can add that in there, Shauna.
I got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay, number. We'll go back to the city engineer. You want to do bill list first? Did you have the concrete percentage?
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was bringing, I'm sorry, I thought I was gonna bring it.
Oh, next.
Yeah, to
Okay.
the next one, because I was gonna look at them for 2 minutes. And
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want, once we get to the bill list, we have miscellaneous, we'll probably have 9 items here, so I just don't wanna lose space. 9 items last time, okay. Bill list, could we pull up the bill list here, this would be new for us? Oh, you have it on the sheet?
Well, I've got the sheet, I
Yep.
have your sheet, we should have the list here somewhere. Yeah,
Yep, it's on a
separate
second email, so you gotta click this to go here, and then
Okay.
it shows up. Yep, I got the bill list.
Okay.
Okay.
I move to approve the bill list, which includes the manual checks as listed on the annual bill list for a total of $102,372.95, and the items listed on the liquor bill list and general city bill list, which will be checked 79696 to 79768 for a total of $554,743.89.
Do you have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, somebody saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, line 13 miscellaneous. I got one. No more than 9. Got one. Okay, since we're doing going back to the employee review process, is this allowable that you would take like the mayor's, like my review process? Could the managers do it too? And I could have the managers fill out one and go through that entire process with that. You know what I mean? Like the department managers. You know what I'm saying? So you guys are gonna fill out your sheet. You're gonna fill out your sheet. I'm gonna fill out my sheet. I'm gonna ask the managers to fill out their sheet. And we do a group one with all of us.
What do you say, if I could ask for clarification? So, the council is the parties that are doing my review.
Correct,
Okay. And so, now how do you bring the managers? Are you saying who would do the manager's review?
No, I don't wanna do the manager's review. I wanna give the managers the same sheet that we're gonna fill out, and we'll have a group of 5 of us and 5 managers, 10 review sheets to go over during that review process.
Oh, you're saying get feedback from the manager?
Get feedback from the managers,
Not
But
participate.
not be.
but not be participate, not be there. Do you know what I mean? Like where they would fill theirs
They
out,
would
so
just have feedback.
they would have feedback into the process. That's what I was saying. I don't, because this process is new to us, I think, is what you guys have said. Is that appropriate to go through that same exact thing? You know what I mean? So instead of having 5 review forms, because that's ultimately what we'd have 10.
So what you're asking is input.
Input, yeah.
Input from department heads.
Correct, yep.
It's what was done, well, that's the way it was set up last year, so it's totally up to the council. That's the way I wanted it last year. Supervisors wish to participate, I think that they certainly could, well, it's up to the council if you wish to take their input.
I wouldn't mind input.
Yes, it's 10, so it'd be 10 review sheets. I still think it can get done in an hour and a half or less. Do you know what I mean? If everybody has,
But those, excuse
No, they
me,
won't be here actually participating, they're just gonna, we'll have them in front of us.
yeah, those review sheets would be for us to look at.
correct,
Only, yes.
Well, what about me? You, did I get those too?
you'll be in the room.
No, I think I should get those sheets as well.
It'd be useful information for you to
You
do your
bet.
job.
Or we could do an average
I mean, if
total
they're
for
not-
all of the categories. We could take everybody's scores
Yeah, I guess
and give them a total.
I would be
for all the
indifferent to it,
categories.
you know. If it's
If they fill it out,
for
then it's
our
filled out.
input, at least we would have that. If you feel, Mr. Barbian, would also want to look at those sheets,
Well, I'm not gonna take anything when I leave.
yeah, I'm indifferent to that.
It's not required to fill out. I'm just saying they could fill out the process, and that way the managers go through there and have it. I don't know, so I just thought.
There's a couple ways that could be done too.
Yeah.
Now, what are you looking at, Bob? Do you have them ahead of time? Do they have time to look at them before the review?
No, I don't think
Okay.
that would necessarily
I'm
be
just
the case, but, you know, I guess there's.
That's what you asked for last year? I didn't know that.
Well, last year, it's called a 360 review, and that allows people that, not only the people that work for you, and people you work for, but also oftentimes you'll involve community members, such as the press or whomever. You might ask different business leaders in the community to provide input.
Skip the press. It'll be fine. You just shrugged it off over there. We've seen them.
Right.
It's called a 360 review, but there's different ways to conduct it. There's many different ways, and I think it's the council's choice on how they wish to conduct a review.
Well, the consensus has been, we'll send it into the manager, if they fill it out, great, we'll bring it in the room, and we'll see what we gotta come up with.
And they can do it anonymously if they like.
Anonymous.
Well, it should be.
It should be anonymous. Mine's not gonna be, of course, you can say my name on top.
I'd like to have them completed before, ahead of time, not the day of the meeting. I'd like to review them at home,
Yeah.
and then work on my own, you know,
It would, you generally,
I love it.
generally the results come out after, the results, your review, for example, usually would be before you receive the result, anybody else's results, typically.
Yeah, so we first.
Typically, you would
Okay.
complete yours before
okay, I'll
you
do
see.
mine. And then,
Yeah, you don't want to sway your.
Yeah.
okay, after I've done mine, then what are we looking for department heads to,
You know, I think, it kind of make a point.
you know, what, I'm doing, mine's done now I get this, and what am I supposed to
You
do
know,
with that?
we're here
You might
twice a
change
month.
your view.
Right, they work with them a lot more.
Yeah, they have the day-to-day knowledge that we don't, we don't necessarily get to see all those things.
So how are you planning on incorporating that in Mr. Barbian's review?
So this is my thought.
Okay?
Okay. We'll hand them out. The clerk will get them out to all the department heads. They'll put them in an envelope, sealed, right? I'll bring my sealed envelopes to the room, and bring a paper cutter, I'm gonna rip them open as I go, and I'm just gonna read them and pass them around the room with nobody's name on them anonymously. I mean, it's gonna be pretty much, you know, if it's the public works guy talking about something, I mean, I'll be able to figure it out. I'm not gonna say that it's not gonna be instantaneously, because he's surely not gonna talk about the Coors Light sale at the liquor store. You know what I mean? It just, it kind of fits to where it is, but it's anonymous.
Well, we could.
But you could, of course, yep, you could say that the liquor store was too high and Mr. Barbie didn't work out to get Coors Light prices lower. But most likely it won't be, and you'll be able to kind of figure out the process. That's what I was saying in the,
That doesn't do anything for me.
I didn't think it would. So, the consensus on the group will be to do that. I know the press can't be there for surely from the bulletin board.
No, I was just going to suggest with what we do at the college when we do have the anonymous survey responses, although it may not be influencing your own opinion or be personally useful, it may represent trend data in terms of opinions. You may see things anonymously after you've done yours and you see someone else's. It can kind of be a good conversation starter and kind of weigh into maybe changing the way certain things are done or procedures or things like that.
That was my hope, actually. If that's an issue, I don't know what it is. But that's where I went on my miscellaneous. So, we're good on that consensus then?
Yep.
Okay.
That's
Miscellaneous number 2. Seeing none. Number 14, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to have second? Second. I have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say by saying aye. We're
Aye.
both same sign. Motion carries. We're adjourned at 7:41. Okay, good.